Hey guys, Brooke and Laura here with Legal Talk Tuesday, and today we are continuing our June theme of talking about all things divorce. And so we know that divorce can be overwhelming, but there are several things that you can do in order to prepare yourself for a divorce. When you're thinking about divorce, when you're starting the process of divorce, and as you're going through the divorce. So today we're talking about a few things you can do to make the process smoother, and we are going to specifically talk about three different things and give you just a few insider tips. I don't know really what to call it. I've struggled with that. But anyways, the first thing that we think is a good first step is to seek professional help. And when we talk about professional help, first I'm going to talk about talking to a therapist, talking to a counselor, someone that can kind of help you transition into your new life circumstances and also keep you from repeating some of those negative patterns or behaviors in the future. I know sometimes that's sensitive, and a lot of people, think, well, I can turn to family or friends, or they, don't really want to go internal, but can be extremely helpful for you to have that neutral outside party to discuss it with, because obviously friends and family, although they're a great support network, and we definitely recommend you, be open to help from those people, they are probably a little biased towards you. So definitely seeking some kind of professional help for yourself. And if you have children, of course, that's always a good idea too, because it's a big life change, a big life decision. Also, you want to talk to a lawyer, because a lawyer can explain your rights to you and the entire process. Because sometimes the legal system and lawyers, we tend to kind of overcomplicate the system, and it can be kind of confusing. And our role really is to help you navigate that. So we can foresee some of those issues that maybe you can't, especially in your emotional state at that time. Sometimes when you're going through a divorce, you may just want to get it over with as quickly as possible. So you're willing to give up things that maybe you don't understand the long-term effects or consequences that might have. Sometimes, you are just trying to, you're reacting. Basically, you're reacting to the situation, to your emotions, and it may be difficult to remain civil. So I know it sounds weird saying talk to a lawyer so you can remain civil, but there are some of us out there that really truly want that for you. And specifically for us, we'll do a little plug, but for us, we do offer 30-minute phone consultations that are $20. And really during that consultation, we give you a general overview of the divorce process, what it looks like, what you need to know, and also talk specifically about some of the things in your case. We also offer divorce coaching. So that's a new service that we're offering that Laura will most likely be the person that you are talking to. It's a flat rate of $250, and you're going to get an hour-long strategy that really dives in deeper to what you need. You're going to get a spouse negotiation guide, which allows you to kind of go through and work through some of the main points and issues you need to address in your divorce. And you're also going to get some resources to help you along the way. So there's my shameless plug.
So kind of insider tip number 2, besides, seeking professional help, whether it be therapy, lawyer, both, we recommend both. A big thing that people don't think about is you need to make lists. So make a lot of lists of things that you have, things that you both have as a couple, pretty much all the things. Make a list of all of that. And, again, trying to be amicable is our goal. Amicable, civil, trying to end your divorce with as little hurt feelings as possible. It helps for you to go through your things before you get to a stage where it gets really, hopefully never gets nasty, but definitely, you want to start talking about these things before you get to a point where somebody gets, mad and says, oh, that's my bank account. So I'm going to list a few things, and by a few, I mean a lot. But it's going to be a fast, quick list. But just kind of keep in mind all of your things: money, cars, all that stuff. So things that you need to make a list of: all of your bank accounts, credit cards, login information for joint accounts, monthly bills, pretty much all account numbers that you might have for utilities and things like that. Real property, meaning any land or houses that you own, bank loans, mortgage information, all the contents of your house. So the furniture, all that stuff has to be split up somehow. If one person takes it, great. If you guys need to split it up, you need to know kind of what items each person wants to take. Assets, meaning like, your cars, your vehicles, but just general assets and general assets in general.
Very descriptive.
Thank you. That's my
That's what we're talking about.
Exactly. All of your
value.
Any kind of homeowners or renters insurance policies that you have, any lease agreements if you're renting your house, real estate, tax bills, any kind of things related to what you have to pay for your house that you own, monthly expenses that you have. I talked about vehicles already, but definitely vehicles, the auto policies on those vehicles for insurance, any loan information needs to be taken, put on that list. If you have children, what are the children's after school activities? How much do they cost? Who's going to kind of, take on transportation and payment for those types of things? Childcare expenses. So if you've got kids in daycare, or after school, not just the after school activities, but if you have like an after school care kind of situation, any kind of debts at all, any kind of joint creditors that you have, whether that's credit cards, whether that's your home loans, whether, whatever it might be, any kind of employer provided benefits that you or your spouse have. So if you have IRAs or pension plans or healthcare, those kinds of things need to be on that list. Retirement accounts, investment accounts, all of that stuff, everything, all the things, the general things generally, those all need to be on that list. And that's going to be very important for you to be able to sit down and work things out, because things tend to be what causes the most friction and the most tension in divorces. And it's a lot easier if you go ahead and just set out a list of your things to make that a little bit easier.
And I'll also emphasize, a lot of people are confused when we tell them to list out things, because that's part of the process too. We need to know that information so we can advise you on what to do with it. But sometimes people don't list things that are in their spouse's name that they've gotten during the marriage, because they think, well, it's just my name on this bank account, or it's just my name on this card, or it's his name on this card. Everything that is either one of you in your name, it doesn't matter if it's both names or just one name. If it was something that's been acquired during marriage, write it down. Mm-hmm. And kind of in addition to making that list, you also need to gather documents. So your marriage certificate, anything that you have, any contracts that are written, premarital agreements, trust or estate documents, wills, powers of attorney, deeds, other property documents, vehicle title documents, tax returns. I would generally say probably 3 years is a good period of time for you to gather those. One thing too that you need to get is your spouse's W-2s and 1099s. I see this becoming a problem sometimes afterwards, because we have to provide a document. It's a state required document that lists all of your financial information. And as part of that, you do have to provide a pay stub. So you'll need pay stubs. I would say, copies of your last maybe 6 pay stubs. But those types of things you have to come up with. And if you're setting support amounts of any kind, you need to know what your spouse is making. And sometimes, especially if it gets nasty, that's not something that people give so easily. So make sure that you get those things in advance if possible. You're also going to want to have copies of insurance policies, any business information if you own a business, and any other policies or documents that you created during your marriage that you think may be important.
Exactly. And just kind of to finish this off, we wanted to give you some tips, basically just in general, of things that you need to pay attention to. One of the things is, if you are starting the process or going through the process of getting a divorce, or thinking about the process of getting a divorce, these are things you need to pay attention to. One is to make sure to update any wills and powers of attorney, any trusts that you have where your spouse is listed maybe as a beneficiary or, whatever it might be, you can't disinherit a spouse if you're still married, but you want to make that change and have it, especially after a divorce is final. So just keep that in your mind. So powers of attorney, especially because that, your spouse, you may not want them making your healthcare decisions anymore. So make sure that you can, make those changes pretty immediately. Your will and things like that, you might have to wait a little bit, but just keep that in your mind. You want to make sure that you change things like your life insurance beneficiary information if you don't want that to go to your spouse. Sometimes people do because if kids are involved and it's very, amicable, the divorce. So just, but life insurance beneficiary information is important to understand that needs to be changed. Divorces don't automatically change that stuff. You have to do it yourself. Same thing with taking a spouse off of any employer health insurance. Most employers won't take a spouse off of health insurance until you hand them a divorce decree. But just keep that in mind. That's something that you'll want to keep in mind as well. Change your contact information. Your primary contact for emergency situations at your doctor's office, if you go to school, at your work, at your office, and that way that, if you want your mother or your sister or a best friend to be your emergency contact, and instead of your spouse that you're divorcing, make sure to make those changes, because otherwise they're going to get a call if you end up going to the hospital or something like that. Open a new checking and savings account. Like Brooke said, all money, anything is marital property while the marriage is still in existence. But it's a good idea to go ahead and have that separate new checking and savings account so that you have that ready to kind of put that money into for your future. So go ahead and have that open and maybe deposit your paychecks in there. You can't hide it, but you can still at least have that independence from the joint checking account and show what's in there. Open a PO box maybe if you want to have a different mailing address. So open a PO box or a UPS box. Start looking for a new home. If you're renting, it's one of those things where people decide they want to get divorced and then they have nowhere to go. But it's, so it's really important to either talk to a real estate agent, or if you want to buy a new home right away, or start looking for apartments or homes to rent. But all these things should be kind of on the front end of your mind if you're talking about getting divorced, because you got to have a place to stay. You got to have some money to move out or have your spouse move out. There has to be something kind of in the ready before that final trigger is pulled. So we'll just do a little wrap up for today's Legal Talk Tuesday. We appreciate you being here with us, and we're continuing to talk about divorce in June. I know it's not the happiest subject, but it's a real subject, and June is one of those high months where a lot of filings for divorce happen in June. It's one of those new start kind of things for the start of the summer. So our little tips are: seek professional help, therapy, talk to a lawyer. Doesn't have to be us, but we'd love to help you. That's my little plug. Make lists of all of your stuff, whether it's in your name, his or her name, both of your names. Make a list of everything so that you have that written down. Gather all of your important documents. Make sure that you have that financial, marital, whatever. And then think about things that you need to have in your brain, like changing your beneficiaries, opening new bank accounts, that kind of thing. So we appreciate your time today. Brooke, do you want to add anything else?
Nope. That's
okay.
It. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week at 11:30 on Tuesday, the 25th. Thanks. Bye.